In the minds of several people living in different parts of the world, identical thoughts may arise. Sometimes, a scientific discovery is made simultaneously by several individuals. Why does this happen? Let's delve into it. First and foremost, it is important to understand that thoughts are not born in the brain. They come to it. The brain simply allows them to enter from the stream of consciousness. It takes in the thought, converts it into electrical currents, and sends it through the central nervous system to all parts of the body. We perceive every thought with our entire body, just from a single thought. We may experience tingling sensations, tears, spasms, and other physical reactions. The brain is a kind of electromagnetic receiver. It consists of different sections designed to receive, store, and amplify thoughts. Depending on the density of water in the cells, different parts of the brain have varying capacities and conductivities. Some can only accommodate high-frequency thoughts, while others low-frequency thoughts. The brain is able to receive thoughts of a specific frequency only if the corresponding section is in an active state. Essentially, thoughts are energy pulsating at different frequencies. Fearful thoughts are low-frequency energy. Thoughts of love are high-frequency. If the section responsible for thoughts of a specific frequency is active, we will perceive thoughts of that corresponding level, as we attract them ourselves. So what is our brain as an instrument? And where do thoughts come from? That is precisely the topic of today's video. Every person has access to any kind of thought, from brilliant to the most terrifying. The nature of these thoughts depends solely on ourselves. We may ponder various questions, but one of the most important is about discoveries in science. We can ask different questions, but one of the most important questions is about discoveries in science. How are they made? Everything existing not only receives a thought, but also emits it back. Not only the thought of its own being returns, but also the awareness of its surroundings. This is collective perception, and it also flows into the stream of consciousness. Every atom emits the thought of its being into the divine mind, back to where it came from. Any person is able to receive this thought by tuning into its wavelength. We constantly draw thoughts from the stream of consciousness, imbue them with our feelings, and return them back into this stream. Thus, thoughts can be picked up by other people, even if they live far away from us. What we think is accessible to everyone without exception. Functions of the brain consist of receiving and processing thoughts. But not every creation possesses the same kind of brain as a human. Nevertheless, all objects are capable of interacting with this stream. This is possible because there is another link between the brain and the divine mind, called the aura. Not only science tells us that thoughts are not born in the brain. About 200 years ago, Ignatius Bryan-Kaninoff, an Orthodox saint, also spoke about this. Usually, people consider thought to be something insignificant because they are very discerning in accepting thoughts. But from accepted correct thoughts, all good things are born, while from accepted false thoughts, all evil things are born. Considering the degree of spiritual degradation of modern man, he receives almost all signals in quotation marks from below, which the Holy Fathers call thoughts. Given the degree of spiritual degradation of modern man, he almost all receives signals in quotation marks from below, which the Holy Fathers call thoughts. At the same time, the sender of the signal does everything possible for the person not to feel this signal, and to think that it is he himself who gave birth to this thought. This is what fallen spirits are busy with. Saint Ignatius Bryan-Kaninoff also wrote about the nature of these thoughts. Evil spirits lead the battle against man with such cunning that the thoughts and dreams brought by them seem to be born in the soul itself, and not from another evil spirit trying to hide. And indeed, try to free yourself from all your thoughts. Clear your mind and see where the hidden thought will come from. Conduct an experiment on yourself. And we continue. The hypothesis that consciousness exists independently of the brain is defended by modern Dutch physiologists led by Pim van Lamella, who stated, by the way, that thinking matter may not exist at all. The same view is held by some English scientists. Sam Parnia from the Central Clinic of Southampton and Peter Fenwick from the London Institute of Psychiatry died. According to Parnia, the brain, like any other organ of the human body, consists of cells and is not capable of thinking. It functions as a device for detecting thoughts. In 1957, a report by Dr. Jan Bruel and George Olby, who performed an operation to remove the right hemisphere of the brain from a 39-year-old man, was heard at the American Psychological Association. To the great surprise of the doctors, the operated man quickly recovered and did not lose his mental faculties. To the great surprise of the doctors, the 39-year-old man who underwent surgery quickly recovered and did not lose his mental faculties. We, humans, are like walking reception devices that exist within an information field. Our brain is not a generator of thoughts, but rather a receiver and transmitter simultaneously. It is similar to a cellular network, where we, like walking mobile phones, operate on the same frequency. All functions of the human brain can be replicated in artificial intelligence, and many of them modern robots already possess. The most complex functions undoubtedly will belong to the future. Except for one, thinking. The brain regulates the functions of the physical body. No scientist has touched a thought yet. And furthermore, not a single one has been found in the brain. Thought is a product of the mental body. We have not been taught this yet. The hypothesis of the existence of an information envelope of higher intelligence explains many phenomena in nature. And the phenomenon of telepathy proves the energetic essence of thought. Moreover, a telepath does not receive information directly from the person who sent it. The thought from a person or any other being first enters the noosphere, and only then is it received by the telepath. This is evident from the fact that thinking in different languages of two people, or even thinking in completely different images of two beings, is not an obstacle to transmitting information. In other words, the information envelope is not only a huge repository of all the existing information in our world, but also a powerful transformer. It is clear from this that the human brain is not a generator of ideas, but merely a decoder of energy into images and images into energy. What we are capable of thinking, pondering, imagining, is no secret to anyone, and is part of our everyday reality. What we are capable of thinking, pondering, imagining is no secret to anyone, and is part of our everyday reality. But where, actually, does a thought come from? How does it come to us? Where is it born, and for what reasons does this happen? Science has not yet found the source of thought in the brain. Then how do we explain the existence of creative intelligence? We hear everywhere that man is the master of his thoughts and lives according to them. But where is the guarantee that these are his thoughts? If we pay close attention, we will see that our thoughts are tuned from the outside. In 2012, sensational information circulated in the media. Scientists from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Boston University partially revealed the secret of the birth of thoughts in our minds. Now scientists know how electrical activity oscillations allow the brain to form thoughts and memories. Currently, researchers are trying to determine how these neural ensembles coordinate their activities and how the brain switches between different thoughts. Some neurobiologists suggest that deep brain structures, such as the thalamus, may be responsible for this process. In general, one of the biggest mysteries of science remains unsolved for now. But scientists are close to finding an answer to the eternal question: what exactly controls our thoughts? Such sensational discoveries in quotes once again demonstrate the primitiveness and self-confidence of modern science. It turns out that thoughts are the result of electrical oscillations in quotes. But where do these oscillations come from? For some reason, scientists naively assume that electrical oscillations are the penultimate link in the chain of cause and effect relationships. Just a little more, and they will give humanity an answer to the question of the origin of human thoughts. Just a little more, and they will give humanity the answer to the question of the origin of human thoughts. No more explanations are needed here. In the meantime, 2,000 years ago, emerging Christianity already knew the answer to this question. Thoughts that arise in the human consciousness can either be from God, or from those whom we call infernal forces or fallen. A human, possessing reason and will, can control the process of signals entering his consciousness. The proportion can shift either in favor of God or in favor of infernal forces. In the works of Nicholas of Serbia, the topic of signals turning into human thoughts is explored in a piece titled Symbols and Signals. In Chapter 12, Thoughts and Premonitions, as signals, are discussed. A human usually believes that all his thoughts are his own property, his creation, originating from himself. However, this is incorrect because in doing so, a person proclaims his spirit to be some absolute part that is not subject to the influence of spiritual forces, neither good nor evil. Essentially, a multitude of spiritual forces influence the dual human, just as a multitude of different physical forces act on the body. But then it turns out that the brain is only a part of the body that perishes with it, while the soul is eternal. Why the nature of thought formation remains unknown to this day, despite the efforts of scientists and highly advanced technology in studying this phenomena. The answer is simple. The nature of thought formation is being sought where it does not exist, and most likely, this is done intentionally. The brain is an organ that serves only for processing and storing information, and it is simply a receptor. The brain is an organ that serves only to process and store information, and it is also just a receiver. It turns out that the difference between ordinary people and scientist inventors lies in the ability to receive signals from the noosphere. And when a person's ability to receive information faster than ordinary people is combined with an expanded range of information received, that is when such a person is called a genius. The proof of this is the geniuses of the 20th century. Einstein said that if given an hour to solve a certain question, he would spend 55 minutes thinking about how to frame the question correctly, and only 5 minutes getting the correct answer. Therefore, the main key is asking the right question, and the answer will come on its own. Tesla, the father of all electrical technology, said that all his devices were created by him, not based on his own guesses. He said that when he sleeps, he enters another world where he communicates with people who know everything. In fact, they revealed to him the secrets of the laws of nature, which he successfully implemented in life. In general, all the greats use the noosphere and its possibilities. They also receive signals of either lower or higher order. Of course, one should not think that thought is just one type of radio wave, or something similar. Thought is a form of energy, perhaps unlike any of the energies we know, and it is not certain that we will ever be able to fully understand it. The hypothesis of the existence of the information shell of higher intelligence explains many phenomena in nature. Our brain receives all commands, and then our body is set into motion by them. Our brain receives all commands and then our body is put into action by it. But this does not mean that the brain has independence. It is completely dependent and interconnected with the whole system. like a tiny computer that is only busy putting us into action, and is itself connected to an even larger system, with a gigantic brain and a memory of non-physical format. Electroencephalography gives an idea of the level of physiological brain activity. In addition to the method of electroencephalography, the recording of bioelectrical potentials uses the method of encephaloscopy. That is, the registration of oscillations, brightness, and glow of many points in the brain, from 50 to 200. Question of a person's thoughts and their origins in philosophy is considered in a branch called epistemology. As we can see, friends, modern science has not yet approached the repertoire, but in controversy it has come to the deciphering of a huge mystery. Where do we get our thoughts from? And this, of course, is a reason to reflect. Why does this happen? Why is this topic taboo and receives little coverage in the media and scientific works? Friends, write about this in the comments. Also, give a thumbs up if this video was interesting to you. Share it with your like-minded people. And, of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Goodbye to everyone. Yeah.